Fire restoration companies may show up unexpectedly on one of the worst days of your life. A Colorado Springs family says shortly after their home caught fire, a company called Statewide Restoration appeared on their doorstep with a promise to help. But more than a year and a half later, the family says they're still waiting on the company to finish the job. Tonight, we're investigating what went wrong and what you need to consider before signing over your insurance money.
This closet is where most of the smoke damage and smoke came up through, and I can still smell faint smoke damage still in here.
Brian Zimkus says that smell has hung around for more than a year and a half. In June 2020, his Colorado Springs home caught fire as he and his family were sleeping.
From what the firefighter said, we were a minute from losing the entire house.
The fire was ruled an accident. The Colorado Springs Fire Department says it may have started from smoldering cigarettes in a trash can. That same day, Zimkus says a company called Statewide Restoration showed up ready to help.
They showed up, they were here, they were adamant about getting stuff done. They had this, beautiful book and all these pictures, they're boarding up the side of the house. They're doing everything you want somebody to do when you're in a bad predicament like that.
Zimkus says he put his trust in Statewide Restoration that they would get the job done right.
So there was some very big structural damage. The attic above the garage had to be removed and replaced, all the trusses. Lots of smoke damage traveled up in between the sheetrock and the walls up into the attic.
But more than a year and a half after Statewide Restoration showed up, Zimkus believes that sheetrock and the attic insulation was never replaced. And here's his explanation on why.
This is a piece of sheetrock that was supposedly replaced at the time that they first started replacing sheetrock. Burned insulation that I could obviously smell.
But they've pulled out since I've called.
Yeah. This has all been pulled out since you've called.
As a precaution to protect the rest of his insurance money, he says he stopped payment to the company as more problems came up. That's when News 5 Investigates learned Statewide Restoration put a $55,000 plus mechanics lien on the house.
They say they put the lien because you didn't pay them.
Correct.
But
they hadn't completed the work either.
When I reached out to Statewide, the company came to an agreement with Zimkus that he would pay 20% of the remaining balance due to have the work finished. But to date, he says there are still outstanding issues. I gave Statewide CEO Gary Liardon 3 opportunities to speak on camera starting on February 22nd. But each time we were ready to go, he canceled. One email said he wouldn't be there in time to meet, another citing a family emergency, a final email saying he's not available today. However, he did say the final items are scheduled and that the lien would be removed as a show of good faith. But so far, we have not seen a release of lien. In the meantime, the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department says the final building inspection has to be complete by April 9th, 180 days after the permit was issued. If not,
if they don't call in an inspection by that point, it will go what we call A status, administratively closed. And that will mean that they can no longer call in inspections unless that is taken care of. If they don't, an A status permit will actually not allow them to renew their license. And then that would, of course, affect all permits. They would not be able to pull any permit on any project whatsoever.
We also learned in January the department temporarily suspended the company's license because Statewide Restoration's workers' compensation insurance was not updated. That meant they could not call in inspections during that time. That issue has been fixed, but Zimkus is still left wondering if his house will ever get done.
It just got pushed off and pushed off until you called. And then things changed.
But it's not finished.
No, it's not.
We asked his insurance company if they could help, but they told us since he went out of network and choosing Statewide, there was nothing they could do. Remember, before you sign an insurance check over to a contractor, the Better Business Bureau suggests you ask for 3 quotes from different businesses and research each company right away. Search the company's name online with the words complaint, review, or scam, and do not give final payment until all final inspections are done by your local building department. We are always willing to check out a company for you before you hand over money. Just send an email to news5investigates@koaa.com.